It is Wednesday, the 20th day of April 2016. Of course, today is the day of the birthday of a very evil, nasty, bad person. The evil, bad person's birthday, that is today, was of course Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler. Today, was supposed to be his birthday, which of course does not need to be celebrated. Then, today I had to take and make a trip down to Boston, to the Boston Center for Independent Living, right around the corner from the downtown crossing MBTA, was a train station, subway station, and for the monthly meeting of the Massachusetts chapter of the ADAPT Disability Civil Rights Organization. And of course, was it number two which was on the agenda, was it today was more planning for a public forum, was it about the disability of cerebral palsy, hosted by the Massachusetts chapter of ADAPT and the Boston Center for Independent Living. And I myself and another person was, and two or three other people with cerebral palsy are going to be the panelists on this public forum. And it will be in June. On the 22nd of June. But we haven't decided upon the exact location yet. That will be decided in the next week. And of course, we're going to have, on the panelists, there could be 2 adult men with cerebral palsy. Myself and Hong is a friend of mine, that I know through the Massachusetts chapter of ADAPT. And hopefully we'll get Aurora is Hong and I are both cerebral palsy walkers. 2 of us can walk, but Han is more affected than me, because he affected with it more all 4 limbs, while I'm affected just only below the waist, with my mobility issues. Then we're going to have Aurora, and I can't remember what else was it we're having. 2 women with cerebral palsy who both have severe cerebral palsy and who both use power wheelchairs for their mobility. And of course, both Rory and the other woman, that was there, I can't remember her name now, she's a Hispanic woman, who's becoming a friend of mine. That kind of a long distance friend who lives with it in the Boston area. With both Hong, that Rory and this other woman all live in the Boston area. So is it? Well, I live way out here in the boonies, in suburbia. Is it 34 miles north of Boston? And of course, we're gonna be emailing back and forth. Was it what we want to take and talk about living with cerebral palsy as an adult. Issues we have with daily living, employment, getting out in the community, and with it interacting with others. With it, and the issue is we gotta take and the whole point of this public forum event is gonna try to dispel the myths about people with cerebral palsy, like we did a public forum back last autumn. That where we had 5 panelists who had different degrees of autism, and to take and dispel the myths about and misconceptions that the general public have about autism. We're doing the same thing for the disability of cerebral palsy. Then also, eventually, we want to get people who are into ADAPT, who have other disabilities like spina bifida, muscular dystrophy, epilepsy, and other people who are blind, deaf, and also those who are deaf-blind, and other people who have multiple disabilities, to take and tell their stories, and to take and to try to dispel the myths that people have about persons living with lifelong and or acquired disabilities. Because it is not easy to live with a disability, even if it's on the mild side, even if it's a mild disability. Of course, cerebral palsy and autism are both spectrum disabilities, whether they were all the way from very mild, barely noticeable, to severe, and of course, I'm on the upper end of the autism and cerebral palsy disability spectrums. So anyways, that I was busy today, doing important, disability civil rights activism work. I don't get compensation for any of the things that I do. I'm just simply doing it out of the goodness of my heart. To try to take and change people's attitudes and to change people's minds about what persons like me who have lifelong or acquired disabilities and what we can contribute to society. Well, I am, of course, watching another DVD just to entertain myself and to wind down after I returned home from Boston. And of course, yes, I took and I don't drive all the way into Boston. I take the MBTA. Was it I parked my car, was it at the Wellington T station, Wellington Circle, the Orange Line. Then I take the T wherever I need to go in the Boston metro area. As it saves wear and tear on the car and aggravation with respect to trying to drive in the city of Boston, where Boston drivers are kind of screwy and nuts when they're behind the wheel. And of course, Saturday and Sunday I've got to go down to a Autism Awareness Month event. That is sponsored by the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, which I'm a part of. Saturday is going to be a screening and a panel discussion. With people from the and with questions from the audience about the disability film Citizen Autistic. Then Sunday, is going to be essentially a potluck gathering of autistics and their families. Autistics of all ages and their families. Of course, both these events are going to be at Northeastern University. And, that way, the Sunday events will be in a potluck. It's going to be, who knows what we're going to have to eat, But, at least it's going to be a little bit of a free meal for me. And, the goal is they can have children who are autistic to meet and to interact with us adults who are on the autism spectrum. And they can get an idea of what it's like to be an adult with autism. And to say that autism is not bad, it's not awful, it is just the way that I am and the way all my friends in the autism community are. Well, anyways, I'll just sign off right now. I just want to mention these things, for my video weblog here.